Johnny!
From The Shining to Poltergeist, the films of Stephen King and Jordan Peele, a new book, I should say, looks at the rise of the horror genre in American culture. Author Jeremy Dauber analyzed nearly 400 years of scary literature, film, comic books, TV shows, video games, and urban legends.
The book is American Scary, a history of horror from Salem to Stephen King and beyond. And Jeremy joins us now. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. How are you guys?
Oh, we're great. Thank you for joining. So how far back do you go in this book? You said 400 years. Do you start with the Salem witch trials?
I do, right at the very beginning, sort of the American colonists sort of coming to from England to Massachusetts Bay, what they find there, who they find there, and what scares them about that and everything else, and taking it to today.
So talk about horror is it a uniquely American thing to to have urban legends, or is this happen everywhere?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I think everywhere we have some very universal fears. We have fears of big things that are sort of beyond our capacity to imagine and are beyond our control, and monsters kind of right next door to us. And what my book does and what we do in America is we put it into particular conversation with the moments and rhythms of American history. And so we have a very unique product which takes that universal and makes it specific.
Do you make the argument that there was a scariest moment in our history? I think back, I was just terrified of Freddy Krueger. I still have nightmares about him. But what was the scariest time period in our country's history, in your opinion?
That's a great question. You know, there's a wonderful saying that the golden age of science fiction is 12. And I agree with you that when we're that age, you know, everything is sharp and vibrant and terrifying. So for each person, we have a different moment. I would say that there are moments in American history where fear is sort of more pervasive of different kinds, and that leads to these explosions of horror creativity. So one moment is during the Great Depression. You know, FDR says the only thing you have to fear is fear itself. Wasn't quite true. A lot of things to be afraid about. And we have all these fears turned into these classic horror movies like Frankenstein and Dracula. Right after World War II, there's a lot of fear of, you know, are the Soviets going to start a nuclear war or something like that? Right? Are there communists among us? Right? That turns into sort of a great 1950s horror of sort of alien invasion movies and big bug monsters and things like that. So you have these rhythmic moments in American history that really become scariest times for at least fictional horror reflecting real life American fears.
Well, I'm sure it's all, subjective, but do you think there is definitively one scariest movie after studying all this?
I think that it really changes depending on what individual people find scary. There are people, for example, I know for whom a clown is the scariest thing in the world, right? So, Stephen King's It, either the novel or the movie version, is particularly terrifying to them. I haven't found that necessarily. I'm a parent of young children, and so this 1950s movie, Night of the Hunter, which I think is a wonderful movie, about someone sort of really stalking and being a real fearsome figure to kids, that is right now high up in my personal fear pantheon. So I think it really depends.
Halloween's coming up here. How has Halloween changed over the generations?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, I think that one way that it has changed is that, for a long time, I don't think if you read Ray Bradbury stories like about Halloween and things like that, there's not really a fear, whether get warranted or not, that someone among us might be able to make the scares a little too real, if you know what I mean. So those kind of things, I think, over the years have unfortunately kind of pervaded our sense of what Halloween is. But overall, it's been a good time to sort of be fictionally afraid, to sit back, maybe even with a book, and really enjoy, getting a little scare in your life.
How does the horror genre in other countries compare to it in America? I mean, do you think in America it's a pretty big industry in terms of horror movies and scary stuff? Do other countries do it better or differently or more outlandish?
They definitely do it differently, and each culture has their own particular interests. I mean, one, for example, that I think a culture that is really sort of wonderful, has been sort of Japan, which has takes its own kind of native or indigenous kind of sense of local demons and sort of turned that into something very powerful. I think one of the things that you've seen very resonantly recently is the way that Korea, particularly South Korea, has become kind of a feeder for American horror. Things like Squid Game or some of these zombie movies like Train to Busan, have really kind of become very, very popular kind of in American culture. And some of that stuff shares a kind of preoccupation with socioeconomic class that America can be very interested in. Something like Squid Game does that, for example. So you have commonalities and you have differences.
Of the current directors or authors out there today's generation, who would you recommend?
I think that Jordan Peele, maybe not surprisingly, has really been doing kind of landmark work in really kind of taking these classic bones of horror stories, the uncanny double, body snatching, things like that, and really making them sort of resonant for a 21st century audience. Stephen King is still, he's the old master, but he's still doing amazing work. So a newer figure and an older master sort of juxtaposed in prose and in movies.
Well, the book is American Scary, A History of Horror, From Salem to Stephen King and Beyond. For more, check out Jeremy's website, and you can follow him on X. Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Thank you so much, guys. Wonderful to be here.